Hi Shaun, thank you so much for joining us this evening and for sitting on the panel, a very insightful panel. I know you are in a industry where sustainability, ESG is very important, of course. Where do you feel that D&I initiatives fit into the ESG conversation?
So I think D&I is on the radar in this region, absolutely. Taking into account cultural sensitivities, religious sensitivities. I think from my perspective, the conversation is starting to be had, and what I feel like we can do personally is continue the conversation, broaden what it encompasses, and when it comes to ESG, for me, the diversity and inclusion agenda is part of that social aspect. And I think, no organisations in today's current climate can afford to ignore it. And if you do, you ignore it at your own peril. The reason for that is employees today, which is all of us, the majority of us, we're hoping for the opportunity to work for a company that has a purpose, has an objective. I think in my organisation, we are very sustainability focused. We use digitalization tools to help us achieve those sustainability objectives across many sectors. And as a consequence, the people that I work with within the organization, we're quite proud of what we're doing. We're quite proud of the strides we're making in sustainability across many sectors, as I've mentioned. It gives us a sense of purpose, but also you feel good, like you're actually giving something back either to the local community or the wider community.
Definitely. And in terms of companies, organisations which maybe haven't put D&I on the forefront of the agenda in terms of implementing processes or policies, such as a mentorship programme, which we spoke about obviously at length and is the main topic of tonight's event, what would you say to them in terms of, taking that first step? What have you seen that works in terms of kind of implementing that mentality into a workplace?
Well, I think obviously, we've all heard, and it's true, that it's the people that make the organisation. It's the people that matter. And, that kind of, if you like, guidance, not a safety net, but almost a steer, and mentoring is a good example. It actually shows that as an organisation, you have a social conscience. You want your people to grow within the organisation and you want them to stay. I mean, ultimately, you can get into the economics of turnover and things like that if people are unhappy. But, there's many different, you just look at some of the examples of some of the organisations around at the moment and what they do for wellness in terms of fitness. I mean, even simple things. Being able to have breakout rooms for work where you can sit and converse during break time. One of the things that I enjoy about my organisation is that, my desk goes up and down, right? So that's a wellness aspect. But I think, starting small for the organisations that don't have it, you can either implement it yourself, which might take time, money and resource, or you can join up organisations that actually help that social agenda. So easily, mentoring is one. We're talking about Grow Mentoring for the legal profession. And I would say to those organisations to potentially use the HR function to explore what kind of things, the small wins, can be incorporated.
And in terms of in-house legal teams then, are they vital to the change within a corporation? Is it legal that can push the agenda with, the C-suite, if that's something that's important to them? Have you seen that happen?
Certainly. I mean, obviously senior legal counsel within an organisation, many of them report to the boards and report to the C-suite, or they advise the boards, if you like. So there's an ability to not only just give the legal background to an issue, but obviously you'll provide the commercial element, which is the bridge, but then there's that social aspect, the governance aspect, the E aspect in ESG that actually gets layered on top. And that's part of the package of guidance, governance, advice that in-house counsel can give to commercial managers, or give to the C-suite, or give to the board.
We also spoke a bit tonight about reverse mentoring. Is that something that you've been a part of or that you've seen?
I haven't been a part of it, but I'm all for it. And I asked Justin to speak at the Global Legal Summit that I organised last year on what tomorrow's mentor looks like. So the audience was filled with a lot of senior lawyers, and I wanted them to hear about what students and lawyers of today are looking for in their mentor. Because when I was going through, law school and then ultimately in private practice, mentoring wasn't necessarily a concept that was widely used or discussed. And even if it was very different to the way it is now. And I think there's a bigger, broader conversation around mentoring, and absolutely listening to the next generation of lawyers and what they would like to see, what their expectations are. To me, that reverse mentoring is hugely helpful.
Okay. Any words of advice for young lawyers starting out in their careers as of today?
Build bridges, don't burn them.
Yeah, that's good advice. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.